Hi guys, in this video I'm going to build a few levels for the platformer that we currently have, and essentially since FXGL 11 has been, or the snapshot of it has been out for some time, I wanted to make sure that all the major bugs have been fixed before its final release. So I'm going to play around with some stuff, and hopefully this will be interesting for you if you're planning to use FXGL 11. Might also talk about some of the features that we have and some of the features that have been removed for now until the final architecture is in place. So this is a Mario-like platformer where you have some stuff to jump on, and I'm going to build a few levels for it. Might also introduce some new features. Currently I'm just playing around with this button thing. I want to be able to have some things that can be activated in the game. So you just come close to it and then you press something and something happens. I don't know what happens, and I don't know how to make it generalizable. Ideally, I would have some sort of script built into the entity itself. The levels are built in tiled, so this is what the level looks like in tiled. This is the latest version. This is the latest current version, 1.2.3, I think. And most of the features actually still aren't supported, but the core features are, and I'm going to use those things. So yeah, well, this is where the button is. It has a type button, which then gets instantiated through our factory tier. So basically create a square, green square that just stays there, and when the player collides with it, then we have this key code thing which just floats. Like that. It's very helpful to the player, so the player knows that these things are pressable, or these things can be interacted with. Right. For now, let's add a new type for them. Oh, there's already a type button. Okay. In which case, on input, I would like E, the key E, to be the thing that activates these things. I'm going to search the game world for all the entities of type button, and we're going to filter them based on whether the player is colliding with these things. Ideally, each entity button will have some sort of activator component, which would then run a script. But since JavaScript has been dropped from JDK, or the engine, I don't know what the next version is, or if there's going to be a next version. And there are a few options around, but I don't know which one to go with. So at the moment, I've just dropped completely the scripting support. And so for now, we're just going to stick with just creating, hard coding some stuff. I'm going to spawn a door at Or at the very least, we can pass some variables through tiled. So if I select this thing, then I can add some properties. Ideally, one of those properties would be a script that would be creating the store. So I think I have an idea now. So I want to be able to click this button and then the exit door would appear, which means the door needs to be hidden in the first place. So that is not supposed to be there. If I could just remember the coordinates, it's 980 and 529. Just going to call it door X. $529 was it? Can't remember now. But this will create, well, let's just test it. So these are the things that are stored in that object, which will be translated to an entity in FXGL. And then I should ideally be able to query those things. So int door X button get int. So there's a door that should not do anything because it doesn't have the object thing around it. Now if I collide with this thing and then I press E, key width has no associated value. Right, okay. Well, these things have been read. Door X and Y have been read, which is good. The door itself needs to know its width and height, which are 70 by 100. Because each tile is 70. Let's go with that. Door X, door Y, and I'm going to put width 70, height 100. So now it should know its width and height. Seems to have spawned it. Cool. So the door works now, which pushes me into the next level. Now, once this has been activated, we need to remove the collidable component so that we can't ever activate it again. I'm not sure. This colliding will probably return true anyway, regardless of the collidable component. So I need to say that button has component collidable and is colliding. Because I've removed the collidable component, it now thinks it's almost always colliding, because the key code E is triggered on collision begin, and because I removed the collidable component mid-collision, it never actually called this, which is actually a standing issue I need to fix. That's that. Okay, so the level seems to work, and let's move it. So level 0 is now going to be a level 4. Now we set the application as to release, then we should start with level 1. And to also update max levels to 4. That's level 2. That's level 3, which is where the player learns how to double jump. Level 4 was not found. I probably need to rebuild it, so it gets captured. I thought IntelliJ would do that automatically. That's level 4. Because there are no more levels, it should say you finished the game. Yep, that's fine. Right, let's build level 5 now. So the player now knows how to double jump. The player also knows how to press things. I don't want to add enemies yet. I don't even know if there are going to be enemies, because most of FXGL game demos already have enemies. It'd be nice to have a variety. So I'm going to increase the level width, I think. How do I do that? Map. Do I need to create a new map? Write down fixed. Current values are 15 and 10. So if I do 30 and 10, tile size is 70. Save as what level 0? Yes. Tiles. Sprite sheet should be there. That one. Yeah, I'm going to embed it in the map. I don't want to create an external thing. tiles, sprite sheet, that. Oh, it probably had different margins. Let's just double check. Spacing 2, margin is not specified, so it's 0. Spacing needs to be 2 though. How do I get rid of the style set? Tiles, sprite sheet, spacing 2. Yeah, that's good. So what do we have in the other level? I think it was just plain. It's level 0. Let's go with level 4. 3. I should just be able to copy paste this, right? Like that, like that. Let's make it a bit more interesting. Nope. 1. Yeah, there's going to be some space in here. Because the player already knows how to double jump at this point. So we need a door somewhere. That's the door. How did I do the exit sign? I think it's an object. If I copy this into that. No, didn't work quite the way I wanted. It's supposed to be an object. Why is it not adding it as an object? Do I need to create a layer? There we go. And might as well add a door. Because you can see that the door view, which is basically just a tile, and then on top of it there is an object positioned, which gives it the bounding box with which the player collides, and then various things happen. I suppose I could have made it an object with this view, in which case I could have easily made it invisible if I wanted to. Actually, let's try that. I think it's a good idea. So if I get rid of that, insert tile, can only insert one tile. Interesting. So how do I refer to these things then? Door, top, door, bottom. I suppose if each level just has one pair of those things, then we could add just one collision handler and make it type door. Yeah, let's just see this. Quite intrigued actually. So if I save that, I get rid of this. This is my level 0. I need to tell FXGL how to spawn these things, because this is no longer type door, it's door top and door bottom. And they will need different types as well. They do have width and height. So the collision should ideally happen with the bottom part of the door, I think. In which case, these remain. This is no longer needed. It's just an object I can refer to. And in app, I need a collision handler between the door player door handler. So I'm going to add this into the version that we currently had, and I'm also going to copy this for player door bottom, because in which case I don't need to create another collision handler, because it's exactly the same thing. In which case, with this, I could then, if wanted to, spawn both of those things, I suppose. Because the whole point is to get rid of the view, and if it's a tile that is at the tile level or in the tile layer, then I can't access it on its own. And when it's an object, I can, which makes it a lot easier, because when it's an object, it gets translated to an entity that I can manipulate. For now, let's see if this works. Hey, where did my player go? What just happened? Oh, I forgot to... I looked away for a second and my player was gone. I forgot to add the ground platform. So I need that. So the type is going to be platform, and same thing here. Good. Is single jump going to make it? Oh. How did that happen? We need to see the bounding box. What? That's the first one. That's the second one. Why is it height 0? No, I don't want height 0. I want height 70 to cover the whole thing. There we go. Platform. Can we make this with a single jump? Almost. To reload it. Control R for reloading, by the way. Although I don't expect you to follow this tutorial, this video. I need to increase the viewport maximum size. Bounds. How big is my level? It's actually, in the future I might want a bigger level further even. I'm just going to make 5,000, not worry about the maximum width. Also, one of the new features in FXGL 11 is the lazy viewport. So when you move, it doesn't move immediately. There is a certain delay. So if I disable this, I don't know if you're going to see the difference, but there is one. So when you stop, the viewport is basically just bound to where you are. You stop, the viewport stops. You move, the viewport moves. If it's lazy, then it has this extra smoothness to it. You can see that when you reload the level, it doesn't immediately kind of go to where you are. It moves to where you are. That's my exit sign. That's my, if I collide with the top half, then it should not do anything. When I collide with the bottom, it will do. Right. Now, the last thing that I needed to do was to have this button thing, which would then spawn instead of that. Two things. In which case I can completely remove that door top, door bottom from the game, from the level. I think I can do that. Although I should have probably remembered the positions. So door top is supposed to Sure, why do I even need to spawn these things? I could spawn them in the level and make them invisible. In which case I can assume that both of those things are present in the level. So I can just query them. Door top get game world and get singleton. I know that it's only a single object, so I can do that. Of type door top. And I will do the same for door bot. first of all, I need to enable collision on the bottom of the bottom half of the thing. So I'll start triggering the collision. And I need to make both of those things visible. View component opacity, set value to 1. Now here's an interesting problem, because I don't know on which levels I need to set the opacity to 0 when they're spawned. So for now, let's just spawn them as invisible. So they'll be spawned as invisible, and when I collide with the button, when I press the button, then they're going to be made visible, and then the door bottom component, the collider component, will be set to true, so by default it should be false. So I don't accidentally go to the next level, because even though the view will be invisible, the bounding box will stay there. So now there shouldn't be a door at the end. Well, it should be invisible, yeah. But I should be able to see its bounding box. Oh yeah, right. Another thing I need to fix, because the bounding box view is bound to the entity's view, and if I make the entity view invisible, then the bounding box also gets invisible. Need to write that down somewhere. Yeah, that place will do. I'll pick the to-do later. So I need a button on that level as well, which is this. I'm going to put my button somewhere here. I'm going to give it a type button. So the button seems to be there. And if I press this, the door is there. I can now collide with it as well. Good, I think that was the intended behavior. I can still work with the previous doors. And just to make sure that I can't activate it on collision with it, because there shouldn't be a collidable thing around it. Yeah, good. So basically got some foundations for a potential platformer puzzle type game when the player needs to find these buttons, activate them to do something, And then eventually at the end of this single puzzle, so each puzzle is basically a level, then the door would appear, and then through that door the player will go to the next level. Yeah, I think I'm going to spawn all of them as invisible, because that would make sense. Whenever the level is complete, only then will the player be able to see the door. Which means I need to update this for all of the levels I have. Instead of that, I need to have that, which I can place here. By default, it will be invisible. And now the sign actually makes sense, because it will be saying where the door will appear in the future. Okay, yeah, I think that works. By default, it's going to be invisible and not collidable. And when something happens, that something is either a button press, I need to spawn, no, not spawn, I need to get the door for the level, and I know there's only going to be one, and make those things visible and collidable. So this is no longer needed. Yeah, I think that works. Just trying to think it through. Why does this not just copy? Nope, no idea what that is. Seems to be some sort of text object. Tile layer, I need to remove this. From the object layer, I need to remove that. And I need to copy this into level 3 into the object layer. I'm getting a hammer, I think. Right, now on each level I just need to have some sort of an activation thing. So if I create new method to actually activate door, make exit door, something. So I can extract all this into there. And now there shouldn't be a direct door anyway, so I'll need to clean this up at some point. Right, okay, so what's happening now? That's my level 0, which I'm going to upgrade to level 5. Yeah, so something needs to happen here. I'm assuming if I put a box here somewhere with which I can collide, and that will give me the door. So it's level 1. I need an object, and it's going to be my trigger type. Exit trigger. How about that? Exit trigger. Sounds about right. I no longer need this, so I can just do that. Exit trigger. I need a new type. There is no door type anymore, so I can rename this to exit trigger. New hitbox. There is no view associated with it, which is fine. Collidable. Yep, good. And on collision begin, between player and that new type, which is exit trigger, player trigger, trigger disable collision, remove components, collidable. So you can only trigger it once, and make exit door. That's nice. Now I don't need to specify the exact coordinates because these are built into the level. So I'm going to change this to level 5 at some point. I need to open. There is no door. I need the door. Give me a door. So there is no door now. The box is somewhere here. If I collide with it, the door should appear. Cool. We need to do that. Well, for the first couple of levels, because we're just teaching the player how to kind of get used to the environment, I think we're going to give them some free stuff, like exit trigger, so it doesn't actually need to do anything. That's level 5, and if I set it to release, that should start me off with level 1 immediately. Level 5 already has the trigger. For the other levels, this is my trigger. Level 2, that seems a good place for the trigger. Yeah, that'll do. Level 3 needs a trigger somewhere around here, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Level 4 is button based. And level 5 too. Okay. We have something going, at least. Let's see how this actually works in practice. So now he learns how to jump, the door appears. Actually pretty nice. I'm starting to like it. That's pretty cool. I don't know why, but I find it cool for some reason. I need to fix that thing at some point. Although, I mean, well, this needs fixing anyway, the collision thing. But I don't remember what actually problem is. Oh yeah, I wanted this thing to go away. And the problem was that if something is colliding and mid-collision, if I remove the collidable component, then it never registers as on collision end, which it probably do, I think, because we need to clean some stuff up afterwards. But in this particular case, it's kind of like almost signifying to the player that the key's been pressed and there's no longer a need to press it, or it's no longer pressable kind of thing. Alright, next level. For which I need to rebuild this again. It's weird how it picks up the changes to existing levels, but when I introduce a new file into the resources, it doesn't automatically copy it. There must be a setting that to automatically do this. Why? It's supposed to be there. How is it not found? It's probably because it hasn't been copied to this thing. Yeah, level 5 is missing from there for whatever reason. Build module. Will that copy it? Rebuild module. Fine, I'll just drag it there. Okay, it says already exists. So how does that happen? Show an Explorer. Yeah, it's there. It's just not picking it up for some reason. No, it does. Anyway, that's IDE problems. Now I'm gonna do it all over again. But it's fine. It's quality assurance testing. Jump, jump, double jump. The reason why it does that is actually because the head of this thing is a circle. Why? Oh, okay, I'm on release mode. When you're on release mode, the developer menu is not openable. You can't open it because it's not there. It's one of the differences between release mode and the other two modes, which are developer and debug. I'm going to find a nice sprite for a button. maybe even one that can be animated. Nice. Right, so in this video I built some levels. Hopefully you found some part of it useful. The code is on GitHub under FXGL Games Repository. I'll probably build a few more levels, and I'll see if there are some features that need fixing, adding to FXGL 11 for its full final release. Currently it's in beta, I think, the one that was released recently. And feel free to play around with this as well, and let me know if you need some extra features added, especially from the previous 0.54 version, which is Java 8 version. And make sure to use Java 11 to build this Mario clone. And as the time goes, I'm going to update all of these projects to Java 11 eventually. Alright, thanks for watching.